Hi everyone, it's Nima with the White Coat Club. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today I have a shorter video for you guys. We're going to be just talking about glial cells and what they do and which nervous system they belong to, either the CNS or the PNS. But before we first start, we're going to talk about what glial cells are actually capable of or what they do. Glial cells are different than neurons. As you guys know, neurons are the ones that fire action potentials and they transfer the electrical message from the brain throughout the body. What glial cells actually do is they protect as well as support the neurons, and they do not fire action potentials. So that's like the main difference between the neurons and the glial cells. Now, each nervous system, the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system, have their specific glial cells. And if you guys are going into the professional health fields, and you're taking the MCAT or the DAT, these guys are going to be your high yield questions. So first, let's talk about which glial cells belong to the central nervous system. And those would be these guys right here. And actually, I'm going to just write it over here, CNS. So let's start with our ependymal cells. The way that you can distinguish these cells is by this structure right over here. These guys are going to be the ciliated cells within the central nervous system. So you're going to find them in the brain, or you're going to find them in the spine. And what these cilia are actually good for is to help with the movement of the cerebrospinal fluid. So one of their functions is to help move CFS, cerebrospinal fluid. Now, they are also good to form barriers between the actual fluid, the cerebrospinal fluid, and the blood vessels. So that's another function of them as well. So just form blood-brain barrier. And that's basically all you need to know about these guys. Next, we're going to talk about astrocytes. And these guys, I want you to think of them as like the main players in the central nervous system. They have a ton of different functions, but mainly their major function is, just like the ependymal cells, is to form blood-brain barrier. And how they do this is they actually connect to the blood vessels and they separate them from like the brain cells that are in the brain. So this is one of their major functions. They also help regulate a couple different things, one of them being potassium and water. So those two things are also what's really important when it comes to astrocytes. And they also do provide some substrates for ATP production. So we're going to write that down as well. Now, when it comes to the microglia, these guys, from my experience taking the MCAT, were the ones that were pretty much mainly asked about. And why they're asked about is because they have an immune function. These guys basically are the scavengers in your central nervous system, and they are looking for any pathogens or any bacteria or any infections or inflammations. So all you need to know about these guys is that they are immune-like scavengers. And lastly, when it comes to the oligodendrocytes, these guys are another high-yield glial cells, and the reason for that is, if you see right over here, some of you guys might be able to actually recognize these structures. These are myelin, and myelin works in a ton of different ways, but the major function is that it increases the speed of a neuron. And what oligodendrocytes do is they just help form myelin. So that's what it is, or what it comes down to when it comes to the central nervous system and its glial cells. Now, moving on, we're going to go an easier route, and we only have two types of glial cells when it comes to the peripheral nervous system. So these two just belong to the PNS. And just like the oligodendrocytes, we have these myelins right over here. And what Schwann cells do is they just help form myelin. And lastly, we have our satellite cells. And these guys are rarely ever asked about, but they also do have a major function, and that is to support cell bodies of the neurons. So that's pretty much it for the glial cells. There's only 6 of them, CNS versus PNS. All you need to know is some of their major roles for these MCATs or the DATs. And let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And I want to give a big shout out to Victoria, who is our marketing director for our club, for making these amazing diagrams for these glial cells. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.